What's up, y'all? It's King Kong. And right now, I'm taking over my pop's Instagram.
Ever since Diddy's explosive federal trial grabbed the nation's attention, his son King Combs has been standing by his side like a loyal soldier, posting cryptic messages, flashing smiles for the camera, and keeping his lips sealed about the tidal wave of serious allegations crashing down on their family. But now, the silence is cracking. King Combs himself has just been slapped with a sexual assault lawsuit of his own, and suddenly the courtroom heat isn't just on Diddy, it's circling the entire Combs empire. And here's where it gets messier. Insiders claim Diddy is pulling strings behind the scenes, working overtime to make sure his son doesn't say a word that could blow this case wide open. Whispers of control, pressure, and desperation are leaking out fast, and it's already sending shockwaves through the courtroom. The question now isn't just whether Diddy will fall, it's whether he'll drag his own son down with him. Let's peel back the layers on this family legal firestorm. The empire is collapsing in real time. Sean Diddy Combs, once the undisputed king of hip-hop, a chart-topping mogul, and the face of a billion-dollar lifestyle, has traded red carpets for concrete floors. Once surrounded by flashing cameras, high-profile endorsements, and luxury penthouses, he now finds himself staring at cold steel bars inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. This is the same man who once walked the Grammys like he owned the music world, who partied with presidents, who dictated culture through fashion, music, and media, now reduced to a prisoner number awaiting a trial that could strip him of everything he built. And make no mistake, this isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's being called one of the most significant criminal cases in music industry history. But before we dive in, here's a warning. Today's story isn't just shocking. It's disturbing, graphic, and deeply unsettling. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Now let's pull back the curtain. In September 2024, federal agents arrested Diddy in what many insiders say was a long time coming. The indictment didn't hold back. It hit him with a storm of federal charges, including sex trafficking by force, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation for the purposes of prostitution. These are not surface-level accusations. These are life-altering federal crimes that could potentially lock him away for the rest of his life. Diddy, for his part, has pleaded not guilty, but the court isn't taking any chances. Judges have repeatedly denied bail, citing him as a high-level flight risk and a threat to potential witnesses. Prosecutors allege that Diddy was the mastermind behind a sprawling criminal enterprise that thrived behind closed doors for over a decade. At the center of these allegations, so-called freak-offs, notorious events described as drug-drenched, hypersexual gatherings that weren't just about wild nightlife, but allegedly about control, coercion, and exploitation. These weren't private adult affairs. They were, according to prosecutors, orchestrated environments where victims were broken down with drugs like ketamine and ecstasy, and then manipulated into performing disturbing acts while being recorded. And it gets even darker. During coordinated federal raids on his lavish properties in Los Angeles and Miami, agents recovered a disturbing stockpile: firearms, large quantities of ammunition, and something that sent shockwaves through the media: over 1,000 bottles of war lubricant. Prosecutors claim these weren't random items, but crucial pieces of evidence directly linked to the so-called freak-offs and the control dynamics within them. And now, the legal fortress Diddy once relied on is starting to crack. One of his key attorneys, Anthony Rico, has already jumped ship, quietly withdrawing from the case without public explanation. Rumors are swirling that more exits could follow. Some say his defense team is already at odds, while others whisper that even Diddy's closest allies are distancing themselves as the storm intensifies. What was once a music empire is now ground zero for one of the biggest legal battles pop culture has ever witnessed. And the worst part? This is just the beginning. In February 2025, Diddy's legal chessboard shifted again. One of his previous attorneys stepped away, citing reasons protected by privilege, meaning he couldn't publicly explain the real cause behind the exit. But behind closed doors, whispers say there's more than meets the eye. As pressure mounted, new blood was brought in. Enter Brian Steele, a seasoned legal warrior best known for defending rapper Young Thug in one of the most watched criminal trials in recent memory. Now Steele joins forces with heavyweight attorneys Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, forming what many are calling a legal dream team. But even with their collective experience, this case is unlike anything they've seen before. And that's not all. Inside sources say Diddy has been actively searching for a high-profile black female attorney to round out his defense. The strategy? To reflect diversity and balance in a trial that's already being dissected under the microscope of public opinion and media scrutiny. But here's the real twist. While the federal criminal case is dominating headlines, it's just one piece of the legal hellstorm Diddy's caught in. Since November 2023, he's been drowning in a tidal wave of civil lawsuits, over 60 and counting, accusing him of sexual misconduct, abuse, and exploitation that allegedly spanned span more than 30 years. The match that lit this inferno? Cassie Ventura, the singer, model, and Diddy's ex-girlfriend of nearly a decade, came forward in a lawsuit that rocked the entertainment world. She accused him of sex trafficking and detailed a pattern of violent physical abuse that allegedly plagued their entire relationship. Though the lawsuit was quietly settled just days after it was filed, for a large but undisclosed sum, it acted as a trigger, not a conclusion. What followed was a public unraveling. More alleged victims stepped forward. More lawsuits poured in. It was as if the industry had been holding its breath for years. And now, with Cassie cracking open the door, the floodgates burst wide open. The once untouchable mogul is now being dragged into courtroom after courtroom, each new case peeling back another layer of a legacy that once symbolized power, wealth, and influence. But now, that legacy is looking more like a house of cards ready to collapse under the weight of decades of secrets. In May 2024, the scandal took a darker, more undeniable turn when CNN dropped a bombshell. Surveillance footage from 2016 showing Sean Diddy Combs physically assaulting Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. The raw graphic video instantly made headlines, providing hard visual evidence that seemed to back up at least some of Cassie's explosive claims. The footage was brutal and unfiltered, leaving little room for doubt or denial. The world watched as the man who built a music empire was caught on tape in a violent act, something that no amount of fame or power could erase.
The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
In response, Diddy released a video apology, one that sent shockwaves across social media. In it, he didn't just offer a vague excuse or a half-hearted denial. He called his behavior inexcusable and took full responsibility for his actions. It was a rare moment of candor from a figure often known for his unshakable confidence and control. But while the apology stunned many, it also intensified the scrutiny, opening the floodgates for even more voices to speak out and raising the stakes for what was quickly turning into one of the most explosive legal battles in recent memory.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Following Ventura's lawsuit and the explosive video, dozens more accusers stepped into the spotlight, each with harrowing allegations that shook the industry to its core. Joy Dickerson. Neal claims that in 1991, Combs drugged and raped her, then cruelly recorded the assault and distributed it, turning a night of terror into a weapon of ongoing abuse. Liza Gardner accused Combs and singer Aaron Hall of raping her, and a friend after an MCA Records event in the early 1990s, painting a disturbing picture of a powerful circle shielding predators. Crystal McKenna, a former model, alleged that Combs drugged and sexually assaulted her at his New York recording studio in 2003, adding yet another layer to the decades-long pattern. April Lampro came forward with accusations of 4 separate sexual assaults between 1995 and 2001, each incident deepening the stain on Combs' legacy. Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a producer who once worked closely with Combs, filed a lawsuit alleging unwanted sexual advances and coercion into forced interactions with sex workers, exposing a toxic environment behind the scenes. Perhaps the most chilling allegations are those involving minors. Multiple anonymous male and female plaintiffs have stepped forward claiming they were sexually assaulted by Combs when they were children, some as young as 10 years old. One Jane Doe alleges Combs raped her at a house party in 2000 when she was just 13, a claim that sends shockwaves through any discussion of this case. Altogether, more than 60 individuals have filed lawsuits against Combs, with allegations spanning from 1990 all the way to as recently as 2023. Many of these suits became possible thanks to New York's Adult Survivors Act and Gender-Motivated Violence Act, which temporarily lifted the statute of limitations for survivors of sexual abuse, allowing decades-old cases to finally see the light of day. Yet despite the overwhelming volume and severity of these allegations, Combs and his legal team have remained unwavering in their defense. He has consistently denied every claim, dismissing the civil lawsuits as nothing more than money grabs and publicity stunts, orchestrated by opportunists looking for their moment in the spotlight. His attorneys have strongly asserted that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. At one point, lead attorney Mark Agnifilo confidently quipped that these accusations wouldn't hold up in court, but as the number of accusers grows and the details become more harrowing, the pressure continues to mount, pushing this saga into one of the most explosive and closely watched legal battles of our time.
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up
What's coming next in this saga? How exactly is Diddy's defense squad preparing to take on these explosive charges? And what does daily life look like now for a man who went from billionaire kingpin to inmate in one of America's toughest detention centers? We're about to uncover the inside story of Diddy behind bars, revealing the legal blueprint his team is meticulously crafting as the trial date approaches. But the drama doesn't stop there. There's the tangled family business, the elite guest lists, and the forceful denials that keep fueling the fire. Back in the day, Diddy's infamous white parties were the ultimate symbol of Hollywood glam and exclusivity, running from 1998 through 2009, and drawing the biggest names in music, film, and fashion to luxurious spots like the Hamptons, Los Angeles, and Miami. Yet ever since his arrest in September 2024 on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, these glamorous events have come under intense scrutiny. According to BBC reports, while these white parties were dazzling and star-studded, they are very different from the so-called freak-offs that prosecutors say were drug-fueled and coercive sexual gatherings orchestrated by Combs himself. Events far removed from the public spectacle of the white parties. Media sources, photos, and eyewitness accounts confirm many celebrities attended these parties, but attendance doesn't imply any involvement in illegal activity. Many guests simply enjoyed what looked like ordinary industry celebrations. Several celebrities have openly confirmed their attendance over the years, including Justin Bieber, whose connection is especially noteworthy given claims he's been affected by these events. Mariah Carey, who attended the 2007 white party in East Hampton alongside Tommy Lee and Busta Rhymes. Paris Hilton, seen at the 2006 white party with Kim Kardashian, also photographed there, and Jennifer Lopez, a former girlfriend who frequently appeared at these gatherings. Lopez's involvement adds another layer to the controversy, particularly after fans resurfaced a 2015 Wendy Williams interview where her mother Guadalupe appeared visibly uncomfortable with the idea of Lopez rekindling a relationship with Diddy.
As for Diddy's ex J-Lo, fans also dug up her 2015 appearance on the Wendy Williams show. Her mom Guadalupe reacting to a rekindled romance.
I could always see you getting back with Puffy in a little way.
Now, as the trial date looms closer, Diddy's lawyers are working tirelessly to craft a defense strategy aimed at dismantling the prosecution's case, all while Diddy adjusts to life behind bars at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a stark and humbling contrast to his former lavish lifestyle. The public remains divided and captivated, awaiting one of the most dramatic and high-profile legal battles in the history of the music industry. And now comes the part that's got the whole industry whispering, because Diddy's party scene wasn't just a celebrity playground. It was a full-blown cultural phenomenon that blurred the line between fame and infamy. Jay-Z and Beyoncé, the power couple of pop royalty, were not only regulars at Diddy's glitzy soirees, but also reportedly dropped music at some of these gatherings, according to the BBC. Ashton Kutcher, in a now resurfaced interview, described his experiences at these parties in a way that painted them as anything but ordinary, wild, unpredictable, and far from what anyone would expect at a standard industry mixer. US Magazine shared Khloe Kardashian's jaw-dropping memory of a Diddy-hosted Las Vegas bash where, in her words, half the people were butt naked. That single line alone has the internet digging for footage and receipts. Meanwhile, Russell Simmons was seen at multiple white parties, including the high-profile 2004 and 2007 events, as noted by the BBC. And Usher, who actually lived with Diddy during the 90s, has also reflected on his time at these exclusive events. Add to that a star-studded roll call including Al Sharpton, LL Cool J, Aretha Franklin, Betsy Johnson, Donald Trump, Demi Moore, Russell Brand, Star Jones, and even Martha Stewart. And you start to get the picture. Diddy's parties weren't just events, they were cultural flashpoints packed with the biggest names in entertainment, fashion, politics, and media. Over the years, the total number of celebrity attendees likely stretches into the hundreds. But here's where things get murkier. Not every celeb on the guest list wants their name tied to these events now, especially as the legal fallout intensifies. Ice Cube made it crystal clear on stage in 2024, stating flat out, "Me and WC ain't never been to a Diddy party." 50 Cent, never one to hold back, has been openly critical of Diddy's scene, saying he avoided the events altogether because the vibe didn't sit right with him. Cat Williams, in classic fashion, joked that he once turned down $50 million just to stay far away from a Diddy party, implying he saw the red flags way before anyone else. Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel, chimed in too, saying he was never even invited and calling the snub God's protection. Ray J, who did attend some of these parties, insisted he never witnessed any crimes or trafficking, stressing that the viral allegations don't match what he personally experienced. against. Then there's the infamous unverified Diddy list, making the rounds online with names like Leonardo DiCaprio, Megan Fox, and Howard Stern being thrown into the rumor mill. According to the Times of India, this list has no solid backing and appears to be based more on viral speculation than verified sources. It's already drawing comparisons to those sketchy Epstein guest lists that never quite checked out. While some fans pointed out that celebs like Usher and Megan Fox recently scrubbed their social media of anything Bieber related, there's still zero concrete evidence tying those actions to Diddy's legal drama. And here's where things get really complicated. Not every Diddy party was wild. According to comedian Arsenio Hall, some gatherings were family-friendly and even had kids present, while others, like the chaos described by Khloe Kardashian, were more like hedonistic carnivals. That wide range makes it nearly impossible to paint all the parties with the same brush. But with the legal firestorm raging on, even the most innocent attendance is now under a microscope as the public, the press, and prosecutors keep digging for the full truth hidden behind the velvet ropes. But behind the glamour, beneath the designer suits and champagne-soaked nights, reality came crashing down when Sean Diddy Combs was officially arrested inside the U.S. September 2024, hitting headlines across the globe. According to the Miami Herald, he now faces serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, with his trial locked in for May 2025, a date the entertainment world is watching like a ticking time bomb. The accusations are as dark as they come, with claims that Diddy orchestrated secretive freak-offs, bizarre and coercive gatherings that allegedly involved manipulated or forced sexual acts. And while there's zero verified evidence that any celebrity directly participated in those alleged crimes, the implications have still sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Attorney Tony Busby, representing over 100 alleged victims, has reportedly fired off legal letters to several unnamed celebrities, those who were known to have attended Diddy's parties, warning them that if they witnessed misconduct and stayed silent, they could now be held legally accountable. That's right, even passive knowledge might now turn into active liability. And while the public hasn't seen those names yet, insiders claim some of the most powerful people in entertainment could be quietly bracing for fallout. What's even more eerie is the trail of foreshadowing, moments in pop culture that seemed like jokes at the time but now feel prophetic. A resurfaced clip from the 2000 Grammy Awards is going viral again, where Rosie O'Donnell made a sharp quip that has everyone doing a double take. She joked on national TV, "This year, Lauryn Hill's got 4, TLC's got 8, and Sean Combs 5 to 10. What was once just a cheeky jab about Grammy nominations now feels like a chilling prediction, as the numbers ironically echo the potential prison sentence the hip-hop mogul could be facing. The internet isn't letting it go, turning that old punchline into a meme that's become part of a much darker narrative.
A lot of multiple Grammy nominees this year. Lauryn Hill's got 4, TLC's got 8, and Sean Combs 5 to 10.
Once seen as a harmless joke, Rosie O'Donnell's 2000 Grammy Awards jab has now taken on an unexpectedly dark twist. What once felt like lighthearted humor about Diddy's earlier legal troubles now eerily mirrors the serious sex trafficking and racketeering charges he's facing today. At the time, Rosie cracked, "Lauryn Hill's got 4, TLC's got 8, and Sean Combs 5 to 10, hinting at a possible prison sentence. But what's even more unsettling is that Diddy himself during that same event delivered a bold declaration that now sounds almost prophetic. Boasting to the press, he claimed to be unstoppable and that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Back then, it came across as the fearless talk of a music mogul who had just overcome adversity. Today, though, those words feel like the calm before the storm, a public prophecy from a man who may have sensed the walls quietly closing in on his empire.
Rosie O'Donnell's joke about Diddy nearly 25 years ago hitting a little different in 2024.
You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me.
Yeah, the viral resurfaced moments just keep coming in the wake of Diddy's racketeering and sex trafficking indictments.
These resurfaced clips suggest that concerns about Diddy's behavior weren't some sudden revelation. They've been lingering in the background for years, just not taken seriously until now. The real challenge in evaluating celebrity involvement in Diddy's infamous parties is the murky line between ordinary star-studded gatherings and the alleged freak-offs, where misconduct reportedly took place. Without clearly identifying which events involved criminal activity, it's nearly impossible to determine who may have knowingly witnessed or ignored the red flags. Now, as the case barrels toward trial, the defense, the possible outcomes, and the industry-wide implications are all under a microscope. Diddy was arrested in September 2024 and hit with a series of brutal federal charges: sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transporting individuals for prostitution. Prosecutors claim Diddy used his wealth and fame as weapons to manipulate both women and male sex workers into drug-fueled performances, allegedly relying on black blackmail and violence to keep them under control. In March 2025, a superseding indictment upped the stakes, adding forced labor and another sex trafficking count. Diddy, who once ruled both the red carpet and the boardroom, now finds himself locked inside the notoriously grim Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Far from the eye, glitz of his Hamptons white parties, he's now trapped in what former inmates and legal experts call a hellhole. MDC Brooklyn has a reputation for brutal violence and unlivable conditions, so notorious that some federal judges have refused to send defendants there. Diddy's living quarters? An 8'8", 10-foot cell with a steel bed, a thin foam mattress, and no pillow. Security concerns have landed him in the Special Housing Unit, SHU, which means more protection but tighter restrictions, making it even harder for his legal team to prepare for trial. The once glamorous mogul is now confined to brief, monitored visits and 15-minute phone calls. Leaked audio of one such call with Kanye West, now known as Ye, made headlines in March 2025, underscoring how far his privacy has crumbled. As the May 2025 trial date nears, the heat is rising. Over 60 civil lawsuits are stacking up against him, and the prosecution is pushing hard. Despite defense efforts to delay the proceedings, Judge Aaron Subramanian refused to budge. In recent months, prosecutors have added new charges and revealed disturbing evidence seized from Diddy's homes, including narcotics, firearms with defaced serial numbers, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants allegedly used at his freak-off parties. If this evidence is admitted, it could be devastating to Diddy's defense. But there's more drama. High-profile attorney Anthony Rico's abrupt withdrawal from the case in April 2025 shook the courtroom. Legal commentator Stephen A. Smith weighed in, calling it a red flag. In a video statement, he made it clear, when a lawyer walks away from a case this big, it's rarely good news for the client.
An attorney representing Sean Diddy Combs in the sex trafficking case announced that he is stepping down as counsel.
If you think the Diddy drama ends here, think again. The real bombshells haven't even dropped yet. Want part 2? Drop a comment below saying, "We want part 2. I've got more receipts, more secrets, and I'm ready to spill if you're ready to hear it. Catch you in the next video." That's enough heat for today. Don't forget to subscribe to Adam Gossip, where the truth comes out unfiltered.